Good day, everyone. Thanks and welcome to my channel. In today's tutorial, I'll be talking about um, how to use a JavaScript ES module. I'll also talk about how to use a DOM interaction. I will talk about using a local storage in JS. I will talk about how I use API in this course and modal dialog structure in this course. So let's go right into it. So for the ES module, I use it in two places in this project. But however, I will quickly talk about how I used it in this data structure data set array. This is an array. So this is how I actually use my array. So I use this array structure, which I call the place, okay, a variable called place, constant place, and I exported this array. So this exported array was imported into this file called destination.js file. You can see the syntax I use importing it. Import places from the file path, which is destination of the path. Okay, I console it out to ensure that it is available for use. So the places were also used. If you look through this code, it was used here in this function called display destination. So that's what I used here to implement creation of cards on my home page. Okay, then the DOM interaction, I used it in several places in this course, but I will quickly explain how I used it on the footer here to retrieve the current year and the last modified date. So I have this date.js file. What I did here strictly was to return the full year and append it to the IDs of those elements. So I appended this to the current year, okay, using the inner this year dot inner and appended it. So I also retrieved the last modified time, okay, day and time. I retrieved it and also append it to that last modified ID of that paragraph. So that was how that was also implemented. Then coming to how I implemented the local storage. I used it in several places, but I think it was more prominent here in my location.js. So what I did here strictly was in this point I used local storage to set my API for my API key. Okay, I used it to set it. So after setting it here, I said local storage dot set API, which API do I want to set, whether API key, and I set it to become this. Then I also retrieved it and assign it to variable called API ID. So this was also used in the open weather API address. So what I did here basically was retrieving the data that I got from my JSON file, and I looked through it, returned the individual item, and took the latitude and longitude, appended it here with the key. So with that, I was able to return the uh, the exact latitude and longitude of the individual locations of my destination, travel destination. So that's what I did there. Then, like you can rightly see here, this is where I use my API, weather API. So I was able to use this address, weather API, and to return the latitude. So you can see that at this point I was able to implement both the uh, uh, local storage implementation and API implementation. So with this, at this point, I was able to return the weather uh, icon. I was able to also return the maximum temperature. I was able to return the weather description and all that. So that was also achieved there. Then for the dialog, what I did with the dialog was also to return to implement a dialog. When you click on a particular item, you should be able to get the information that would overlay on the page. So how did I do this? If you look at my HTML file here, you can see that I have a dialog created here. So what I did here was basically to return the data set from the JSON file, which I did here. Then I checked the implementation to ensure that it's okay. The link is okay or the path is okay. If it's not okay, you should generate an error. If it's okay, you should be able to convert a JSON file, which I appended to a variable called data. I retrieved the destination I want to implement it. Then that destination, I added the click event, okay, uh, event listener on it, so that on click of this element, you should be able to listen to it and identify if there's maybe an element in that a child element of that element, okay, that has more information as a class. Then you find the closest and append the information to it. Use the name that is appended to filter the item. If it returns goods, if it doesn't return, you just return nothing. If it returns, then I use that information to implement my dialog here. So I now created the button, which is now will be the close button. I also added the h1 and other information. So at that point, after that was done, I needed to open the dialog by using dialog dot dot show, okay, so that when you click this, these are what will be implemented. So and it will display this information. Then from the class that was created here, which I gave button that was created here, which I gave the class of model, I was able to use that to assign an event listener to it, such that when that button is clicked, it should be able to call the dialog.close function, which closes that dialog. So if you look at how it is here on the web page here, you will simply see that it did exactly what I expected it to do. So this is the home page of the site. When I load it, information was fetched, okay, and this information was first using a ES model from the JS file. Then I implemented the local storage, which I used to store my API key, okay, that I used to return this. Then I implemented API using the address and the latitude and longitude of in the data set to return the individual location information. Okay, I implemented also the dialog, so that when you click on this, it should be able to return the more detailed information about the location. So you can see the city where it is located, the period that people visit the place. You can see the longitude and latitude on your own, so that it can guide you to the exact location.